Okay, so hello everyone on tonight. This is our first 6:30 p.m. Q&A session. So what we do here is very, very simply, it can go very quickly or it can go very long, only an hour, then I get too tired. That's the maximum, but it just goes for as long as you've got questions. So it's your opportunity to ask myself and Mary Jane, who's on here as well, any question that comes to mind, and we will answer them if we can. So how to ask a question is either put it in the chat box, or there is a way of raising your virtual hand, or failing that, if you do have a camera, just wave madly at us. This is being recorded for broadcasting. If you do not want your question or your anything on any future broadcasting of this, just put it in the chat box and we will edit you out. Okay, that made Jacqueline leave, so there you go. All right, so I did see that someone's already put some questions in the chat box. I will have a look. So Linda has a question. Do you need to apply for a director's ID before submitting the new SMSF form? That is a fantastic question, which I'm happy to address. And this is the reason for the recordings, is that other people can listen to this and hear the same answer. So there is two different types of SMSF. One is what we call personal trustees, and one has a corporate trustee, which is a company as trustee. If you have a company trustee, you do need a director's ID. We will not set you up the SMSF until you have that director's ID, which is actually very easy to apply for. If you don't want all the MyGov and the digital ID and everything like that, that's fine. You can set the director's ID up with just a phone call. And you just need your driver's license and passport, so you're not giving them anything they don't already know. It's not as big an issue as some people are making it out to be. However, if you really do not want a director's ID, the way around it is to have the personal trustees SMSF. And what that means is you need at least 2 members in the SMSF. And as long as you have at least 2 people, you can have personal trustees and you don't need the company, and therefore you don't need the director's ID. So I hope that's made it clear. If not, please ask another question to help clarify that. Linda has also asked, you've received a tax bill. Do you need to clear this before you can transfer anything? It depends. If that's just a tax bill that's due or due soon, that's fine. It's only a problem if it's an overdue tax bill, like from last year or something, that will stop you. But if it's a new tax bill, that is absolutely fine. Same with lodging a tax return. Even if you haven't done your 2023 financial year tax return, that will still be okay because they're not overdue yet. It's only if you haven't lodged past years that they will try and stop you. So that's good questions. Okay, so
a follow-on from that is, if you've set up a payment plan for a tax bill, so you can't pay it all off, so you still owe the money, but you've set up a payment plan, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine as well. So basically, as long as you're keeping the tax department happy, which is by, if you can't pay your debt, just communicate with them and put it on a payment plan. And then as long as you're sticking to that payment plan, you will still be able to set up an SMSF. So that's great. So any other questions? So raise your hand or put it in the chat box. My lovely doggy's coming over here to visit me. I've just moved to lovely Queensland, for those of you that don't know. Been here a month, almost a month, Claire. I left on the 2nd of May, so it's almost a month, and can't be happier. Even the doggies have started to get settled in and like it now. So.
And just Richard, I think he just joined. I think your camera's on, but we can't see. That's fine. Just to let you know, we're recording, and it might be used for social media or educational purposes later. So if you want to turn your camera off, that's absolutely fine. And we're just showing first names, so that's no problem at all. Linda just followed up. It's a bill after she lodged her 2023 return. So if you are drip feeding them, okay, then that should be fine. But look, Here's how it happens. It'll take a couple of weeks before we get to that stage of registering you with the ATO. So you put your order form in, we'll look through it. You can ask us any questions then. There's a lot of legal paperwork that we need to prepare, get you to sign. So that takes a few weeks to do. Then when we get to the ATO registration stage, we can check with you, is that all clear now? And then we go ahead. We don't want to do it when you've got anything outstanding because they'll put an immediate 28-day waiting period. So we're happy to just wait a day or two until you clear that up and we can move forward. So you can run those things parallel.
Absolutely. Okay. Jacqueline, yeah, you can now receive a link to the recording. Yeah, if you like, absolutely. Just email myself or Mary Jane to remind us and we can shoot out that link. And Linda says she's been watching the YouTube instruction videos, Mary Jane, very helpful. Yes, we have done Mary Jane has done an amazing job on all the videos, simply because to save us having to repeat ourselves over and over and over again, we have a frequently asked questions document on the website for people who like to read and write things. And then we have the videos for people who would prefer to watch and listen to things. And failing that, you can always contact particularly Mary Jane, because we are actually humans and we do answer our emails and we answer our phones and we're here on these Q&As. So unlike some other providers out there who maybe just offshore everything overseas and have call centres and things, we don't do that. We have a full team of Australian residents, some in Canberra, some in Queensland, some travelling here, there and everywhere, and some in Melbourne. So head office is in Canberra, because that's where I came from. That's where it all started. But we are branching out here, there and everywhere with other people in other states. Majority of our clients are either Queensland or Victoria for some strange reason. We don't have that many Canberra clients for some strange reason. There's probably a few guesses as to why, but we mainly have clients all over Australia. All right, so yeah, who else would have some questions for us? For those that have joined before I said, this session only goes as quick as questions. Sometimes we go the entire hour. We had one session last week where one person carried the questions for the entire hour. He got every question answered. That's absolutely fine if you don't mind asking your questions in a public forum. Other times they're short if nobody's got questions. But Linda has asked, if nobody has questions, oh yeah, I will, that's great. Can you tell us what things are good to invest in? Property, gold, silver, anything else? Yes, of course. I can't tell you exactly because I am no longer a financial planner. I was a financial planner for about 20 years or more. I decided not to be one after the latest pandemic because I felt that being a financial planner, I couldn't tell the truth anymore, because financial planners get all their commissions from putting your money into the share market and products that come with commissions and fees and things that they make their money on. So I didn't want to do that anymore as a financial planner. So I quit being a financial planner, but I still have the 30 years of experience. I am also an accountant, a tax accountant, a mortgage broker, what else am I? A real estate agent, a property advisor, probably a few other things I've missed. So I can give my personal opinion on what you should invest in. And that is, personally, I have put what they say you shouldn't do in life, which is I have completely put all my eggs in one basket. Two baskets, gold and silver and rural property. So to clarify that, as a I've been in the financial industry my entire life, 30 years, invested in everything that you could possibly think of. I've done it. I've advised on it. I pulled out of all of that. I even sold my residential property portfolio, which came as a bit of a shock to me and to my firm, because I was a real estate agent and a property advisor, and I've written books on property investing and I've been in the property investor magazines. And then all of a sudden I turned around and said to my office, sell my entire portfolio. And they said, why, Catherine? You're the property expert. And I went, You'll call me a crazy conspiracy theorist if I tell you, so I won't just sell them all. So I bailed out of absolutely everything out of the share market, everything out of the property market, everything out of every other convoluted investment that I had, and I put it all into gold and silver and rural property. And the rural property isn't necessarily for everyone, but the reason I say it is it's for food source, food, animals, things to be self-sufficient for what's coming in the future, because at the end of the day, all we really need is somewhere to live and something to eat. So yeah, that's what my personal opinion is: gold, silver, and rural property. And I know Richard was texting me earlier about how long to book an appointment with me. That's a funny topic, because back in the day when I used to be a financial planner, the appointments would be a few hours, and then I would go away and take a month to write a 200-page plan, and then we'd have another 3-hour appointment to talk about it. And I'd charge you absolute fortune for the plan, and then charge a fortune in commissions. Now my sessions are 15 minutes, because I just say gold, silver, and rural property, and it doesn't take me long to say that. So I also talk about reducing debt wherever possible, because of interest rates and the way that gives the banks control over you. So reduce debt, gold, silver, rural property. So that's my take on it all. So Anna's typing, so Anna might have a question. So Anna's only got 140,000, I presume you mean, not $140, in your public sector super accumulation fund, so PSSAP. Do you think it's worth transferring to SMSF? Yes. So there's no clear answer to that. ASIC and the government used to say 200,000 was probably the minimum balance for an SMSF, but that's not a mandatory. That's just a guideline. I used to say about 150 was okay for an SMSF, because that gave clients enough of a deposit to buy property, which is what a lot of my SMSF clients did over the last 10 to 15 years. So yeah, 140, 150 would be what I would say is a balance that's reasonable for it. The fees, 140 to 150,000, the fees are going to be maybe marginally higher in the SMSF than they would be in your PSS fund. Once you get to a balance of about 200 and above, an SMSF can actually become cheaper than your other fund. So, but it's not just about fees. So, you know, Anna, really an answer to that, it's about securing. You mentioned you want to preserve your money. What I have been very open about online and on all the social media channels is that I believe the share market is going to absolutely crash, the biggest crash in human history, which could be an 80 to 90% wipeout on the market. I'm not the only one saying this. There's other experts all around the world saying the same thing. Look up Jim Rickards, Robert Kiyosaki, a lot of other people. If you Google them and watch their videos, you'll start seeing other experts saying the same things. Yes, Anna just mentioned the fiat currencies. So the share market will go first, I believe, then the fiat currencies, the banking system, everything thereafter. So in terms of the fees for the SMSF, who really cares about the fees? If you can get your money out of the system, being this public sector super fund, and getting it into an SMSF and into gold and silver that you can hold personally, you can bury in your backyard, you can put in a safe, you can hold it, see it, feel it, touch it, and nobody can just push a button and it's gone. So I guess summing all that up, I believe 140,000 is absolutely fine for an SMSF to get it into a physical asset that can preserve your wealth.
The other thing I might just note is you've got 4 people in your family. So if they have any super themselves, you can have up to 6 members in a super fund. So it's actually quite a good way to get your kids to join, so that, you know, you're helping them build. If you give me an email tomorrow, then I can send you some information about those other advantages as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So consider that. I've had my children in my SMSF from the age I put them in when they were only 3 and 4, and took advantage of some government go contributions when they were young. They had a balance of about 20,000 by the age of 20, which they were happy about, but they wanted to know why they couldn't use it and why they had to preserve it to the age 60. But anyway, it taught them a little bit about the financial system. And
So actually, Anna's
yep.
husband is retirement age, so he would also have super. Even though he might be tempted to take it all out, there are quite a lot of tax advantages into putting it into a self-managed super fund and using that to continue to build the family wealth. So you're still using it for investments as in the retirement pension phase. He can be drawing down, between 4 to 10%, I think it is it, Cass, as a pension?
Yeah. Well, there's no maximum. You can draw down as much as you want, but to try and preserve it for a longer period of time, you draw down 4 or 5% a year and continue to build it. And the reason you do it is the tax system in all super is the best you'll find anywhere. So I always say to people, even if you're at retirement age, don't just pull all your super out because you can. Because if you go and invest in something like, say, gold and silver have done about 30, what are we up to, 35% this year so far, Mary Jane? Yeah. So, yeah, Mary Jane was freezing a bit there. But yes, last time we looked, it was about 35% gain this year in gold and silver. So if you do that in your own name, you could be taxed up to 45%. In an SMSF, if you're over 60 and retired, it's tax-free. So, even if so Anna, your husband's over retirement age, he should still, so husband's able to access his money end of October. He could probably roll it over to SMSF now. So I think you're saying access as in take it out. He could roll it over to SMSF now. So you don't have to wait till October, because I believe October will be too late. Personal opinion only, not financial advice. But I believe October could be way too late. So yeah, talk to Mary Jane. You can email Mary Jane or have a chat with her online as well. Just let us know what sort of fund he's got, and we can let you know whether it can be rolled over. The only ones that can't be rolled over to SMSF are some very specific, what we call defined benefit funds. So they are, Transport Workers Union, maybe not. It's just worth sending us your statements and we can have a look. You can also call your super fund and just go, can I roll over to SMSF? They're the ones that know. They'll try and talk you out of it, but don't listen to that. But just ask them, can I roll over to SMSF? They should be able to answer that for you straight away.
We have rolled someone from a TWU fund, but what we have on page 8 and 9 of our frequently asked questions, which goes with the order form that I'll send you if you contact me tomorrow, or I'll follow up tonight if you like, is a little dot point series of questions for you to ask your outgoing super fund. So one of the questions is it in an accumulation fund that can be rolled out? Because there are all sorts of little conditions that we won't know about, even by looking at your statement necessarily. You won't know about that are there. So we've got a series of dot points, and that's designed so that when you're in the process of rolling it out, there are no unforeseen obstacles or delays. So I will follow up with a little email, Anna, and then you can sort of start having a look at the information there. But it sounds like if you and your husband put your money together, you could have quite a nice chunk to do some investing, and he can also take out what he needs to buy a new car, go on a holiday, to live on, that sort of thing, but still be investing with those tax advantages.
Yep, absolutely. So anyone else got any questions? Veronica's typing. Anyone else? Veronica, okay. Veronica's just said, hi, Cass, nice to hear your story. So I totally agree too. Purchase bullion too, yes. Sarge investment properties, yeah. You've got, one investment property left. Pay off or sell. I'm still saying sell. I could be wrong. So as I said, I've loved property my whole life. It's just been what I've done. But the way I look at it now is that, well, we all know what's happening. We don't want to go down rabbit holes here because this is about financial things, not rabbit holes. But there is a very big significant excess death rate. The Australian government are actually already looking into, or I think they've finally agreed to look into it. Whether they do or not is another question. But there's an excess death rate. There's also a lot of people getting maimed and injured and ending up disabled. The cost of living is absolutely at crisis point. The younger generation have given up the idea of buying a house. They've just gone, no way we can afford it. So it becomes a point in time where doesn't matter if the property prices, the value, they keep going up at the moment. They'll get to a stage, this is my personal opinion, where people won't be able to afford the properties anymore. If we have a death rate, there'll be less people needing a property. Even if we have people that are sick and infirm and in nursing home and hospitals, they're not buying property. The younger generation can't afford it. They're not buying property. The younger generation are moving back at home with mum and dad in droves. Even the older generation, nan and pop are moving back in, and families are coming back together, which in some cultures is the way it's done. And all of that I see could be very, very disastrous for the property market. So if the share market crashes and the fiat currencies crash, the property market will crash. There's no doubt about it. That's why I've sold all my properties. The only thing that may change what I'm saying is that the Australian government is bringing in immigrants by the boatful. It's funny. I'm not normally funny, but there you go. They're bringing them in everywhere, and I think they're doing that to try and prop up the property market. So that may prop it up for a while. But as I said, if the share market crashes and the fiat country crash, property will go along with it. Veronica, my opinion is to sell. If you've got a capital gains tax issue, it's good to spread it over a couple of years. So we're just about to hit 30th of June. You could sell the next one next year. There is also a way of offsetting a capital gain by using a 5-year bring forward provision. So that is an amazing way of offsetting capital gains. It was a provision that was brought in about 4 or 5 years ago, and as soon as they brought it in, I thought capital gains. So if you want to know more about that, contact us and we can work out how much you could put into super to offset your gain. So Ellen has said, so as gold has gone up since you first rolled, still wise to buy gold now. Look, I believe, and a lot of other people, once again, if you Google Jim Rickards and have a look at some of his information, I believe gold is going to just continue up and up and up and up. Jim Rickards, in one of the last forecasts, last time I watched one of his podcasts, he's saying up to 15,000 US an ounce. And what are we at now, US, Mary Jane?
US, I don't follow US, but is it about 2,600?
Yeah, okay, because it's about 3,000 something. 600. I don't watch it every day, and that's another thing. So Ellen, I don't even watch it every day. I rely on Mary Jane to do that for me. Because
Australia's spot price today was 3,500, and actually it's 2,300 in
US. Yep. Okay, and Jim Records says that will go to 15,000 an ounce. So I can't even calculate that gain, but it's pretty huge. So whenever people ask me, when do you buy gold and silver? And I say, when you have spare money. So I don't even look at the prices. When I have got some bank, I don't want it left in the bank. I don't trust the bank. I get it straight out and buy gold and silver. I don't even look at the price. I just buy it. Anna has said silver is up nicely as well. Yes. Silver, we've been waiting for this for a very long time. Ainsley Bullion, I've watched them for a long time, and they've always said that silver flatlines, just little ups and downs. Then it does a big catch up to gold. Then it might flatline again for another 10 years or so. So now it seems to be doing its catch up. Once again, I think it will keep going, because Ainsley Bullion talk a lot about the gold to silver ratio, and it has been at an all-time differential for quite a long time. So silver's caught up a little bit, but it's still at an all-time differential. So I believe Ainsley Bullion believe that silver will continue skyrocketing as well. And if you want to follow the gold and silver market, do follow Ainsley Bullion. They have a great newsletter. We do a monthly Q&A with them as well, where you can jump on a format just like this and follow our newsletter for those dates. Listen to them. I get most of my information off them. They're the experts, not me. I just parrot what they say. And anyone that goes to Ainsley Bullion, please mention that you came through FFS, and they just they note that it's from us. We do not get any commission, and that's really important for everyone to know. I was offered commission from some of the gold dealers right back in the beginning. I immediately said no. I could have made probably a lot of money, but I said no, because the moment I'm getting commission, then I'm no longer independent. So I wanted to be able to say, hand on heart, I recommend gold and silver, and that's what I'm doing, without that bias of getting a commission. Yeah, so Ellen said you bought Sydney at ABC. I have used ABC. The reason I would use ABC bullion is if you're Canberra or Sydney based and you want to go and collect it, because Ainsley Bullion are only in Brisbane and Melbourne, but they do post all over Australia. So if you're in Brisbane and Melbourne, I would use Ainsley Bullion, or if you're getting it posted to you anyway, I would use Ainsley Bullion. It's only if you want to collect. Yeah.
And another option that, because silver is very heavy and hard to store for some people, and if you've got too much of it and you've got nowhere else to put it, and unallocated is also is the cheapest option to buy tangible silver. It's still in their vault, but they're paying for the voltage, and you don't ever have to go and pick it up unless you want to. So if you just wanted to go, I just want to disappear my money from the bank and park it somewhere safe. One of the quickest ways is just buying it through an unallocated account. So you can go in there and look at what you've got, and it goes up and down. Oh, it doesn't go down much, it goes up. And so that's another option. But the reason that even though we're based in Canberra and it's easier for us to get to Sydney, I always love Ainsley Bullion because they're real educators and they really understand what our clients are looking for in terms of they'll help you understand the differences in sizes, what you might need to buy, packaging it up, big ones, little ones, to preserve it, to cash it off when you need a bit of cash to top up something. So they're really, really helpful. When I went to ABC, sure, they'll take my money and they'll give me the gold, and that's all I needed. But Ainsley do a lot of educational seminars. And I was just going to say, if you've seen our latest, or not latest, but last week's newsletter, Cass found a really juicy article about Michael Burry, who was the metalhead guru of the financial markets in 2015, was it? I think he predicted the housing bubble crash in the US, which then triggered the global financial crisis. And the movie, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's worth a look, The Big Short. Watch it and you'll just go, oh, okay, this is really good. Anyway, the reason I mentioned Michael Burry is he just last week bought $8 million worth of tangible gold. He bought into a trust that holds it in tangible gold. So somebody thinks it's still going to go up.
Yes, wow. And do watch that movie. I'll second that. I watched it only a few months ago, and watching it with open eyes now after everything that's happened over the last 5 years. Like when I first watched it, I remembered, oh yeah, that's an interesting movie. But I watched it last time, I'm just going, wow. Everything was just so on par with what we're going through now. So yeah, watch it again. And yeah, if Michael Burry's buying gold, buy gold. Linda has said, you've got gold stored in Melbourne, you need to sell it. And yeah, so what you're alluding to there, Linda, is the rules with the SMSF is that you can't, if you've got gold in your own name, you can't transfer it to the SMSF. But Ainsley Bullion, and I don't know if the other dealers do it, but Ainsley Bullion will, they are able to get you to sell it back to them, and then you can buy it back off them in your SMSF, and that is perfectly legal because you've sold it to them, then you bought it back off them, but they will do it in such a way that they're not going to charge you all the buy-sell fees and everything, because, they know you're really just transferring it from one name to the other, but they'll do the paperwork to make it all legal. Only Ainsley Bullion will do that. That's another reason to use Ainsley. If you have bought gold from another dealer, you'll have to try and ask them if they would do that, and I don't know if they will.
And they might charge you $150 admin fee or something.
Yeah.
But not the mass, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alan has said, yes, she walked out with 25 kilograms of silver. Yep. a woman dressed in training gear collecting her gold and silver in a Mizuno bag to look inconspicuous. Yes, I did accidentally, because I was just ordering, and then I ordered for a few other people, and then me and a colleague from work, luckily a fairly young, healthy male, went to collect it, and I did not realise I had 80 kilos. And I didn't normally. I always take the little wheelie trolleys like your luggage carry-ons, so that you can wheel it. But I didn't have that. We just had backpacks, and oh my God! So he luckily put 50 kilos on his back. Don't know how he did that. I had 30 kilos on my back, and I was trying to walk down Pitt Street of Sydney as if I didn't have 30 kilos on my back, and it was very, very humorous. So be very, very careful with silver. Be aware of how much you're picking up, and either take someone very, very strong with you, or a trolley, or a wheelie bag, or Ainsley Bullion. If you buy it in the Ainsley Bullion Brisbane bag office, that you can park in their basement, and they'll even come down to the basement with you and put it in your car. So that's very good. Ainsley did tell me, I'd have to find out how many quantity it was, but a guy came in a big ute. Yeah, I think it was 200 kilo. And he came, parked the ute in the basement, Ainsley Bullion, and they put 200 kilos on the back of his ute. Yeah. So.
I have to tell my funny story. I went down to Victoria to do some seminars with Ainsley. And I had bought online for me and my daughter, not a lot, but it was 15 kilos of silver, 3 big 5-kilo bars. And I said, oh, can I just pick it up from you at the seminar? So we did the deal at the seminar, and it's like, oh, that's quite heavy. And then I'd forgotten I was traveling Jetstar with a 7-kilo allowance, baggage allowance. But I had taken some little bum bags. So I put 2 bum bags around my waist with 10 kilos in it under a big pregnancy shirt, and then had 5 kilos in the trolley on. I don't recommend that. It was excruciating flight.
Yes. And another interesting story is going through airports with gold and silver. Mary Jane and I have done quite a bit of that. So the tip there is, what you do is, when you put it through the scanner, and then they're going to pull it off. They're going to pull it off to the side to see that you've got something solid metal in your bag. Before they open your bag, very politely ask for a private room. And Canberra Airport, last time I went through doing this, they hardly spoke a word of English, and they really couldn't understand me. But I just kept insisting. I put my hand on the bag and said, no, do not open the bag. Give me a private room. Call your manager, give me a private room. Then they did. They took me into a private room, and then you let them search your bag. You just say it's gold and silver. Because the reason I didn't do that one day recently, I was coming through the Gold Coast Airport back to Canberra, and I had gold and silver, and the man, it wasn't much, so I just whatever. So he opened the bag and he looked at it, and then he waves to the superiors across the hall. He goes, oh, we've got gold and silver here. What? So then I'm walking through the rest of the airport watching my back going, oh, thanks for that. So ask for a private room. And no, Vanessa, you do not need to show them an invoice. It's none of their business where you got it from, why you're transporting it, how much it is. They just have to inspect it to make sure it's not anything dangerous for the plane. What you might be referring to is, if you go overseas, you are only meant to take $10,000 worth of any sort of asset in your bags when you travel overseas. There is something interesting a way around that Ainsley often talk about. Their 1 ounce coins are worth about $3,500, but they're actually stamped $100. They're legal tender in Australia for $100. You take that to the bank, they have to give you $100. I doubt you'd do that because it's worth $3,500. But someone went overseas with a lot of gold coins, way over the $10,000 customs limit in value. But he argued, no, they're only worth $100. And they had to let him through without any record or report. So that's one way of getting a lot of money overseas, is take it in gold coins. So, okay, has anyone else got any other questions or anything else you want us to comment on? If not, we'll sign off. And so we do run these alternate weeks. So next week it'll be 12:30 during the day, and then the week after 6:30 at night.
It counts as a holiday. The 13th, you didn't have time or
Yep.
evening available. So the 13th, there's nothing. And then the following one. But it's always in the banner on our website. And the link there, I mean, we'd like you to book in. But if you forget to do it, you can just go onto the website and click on the link on the banner.
Yeah, they're on when the time comes, because it doesn't matter if you don't book in, because we just jump on anyway, and if no one turns up, Mary Jane and I have a chat. So it's all good. All right, so thank you everyone, and look forward to seeing you again.